And good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome on into the Dragon's Den. How's it going, Icarus Lynx? Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? Sorry I didn't answer beforehand. I was actually hitting all of the front faces here with a heat gun, trying to get the stress off the printed parts. These are all of the panel clips that will go on the rear panel and the side panels. Um, So how's everybody doing this evening? Hopefully everybody's doing well. Doing good and tinkering with blasters. Awesome. That's cool. That is very, very cool. I'm just tinkering a little bit. Trying to actually straighten up a bit and get a little bit more organized because we're coming to the end of this particular build. Uh, we'll still see it on the channel a little bit here and there as I go through and tune it and play with it. But we're getting done with this build, which is really good because I'm starting to freak out. We just went into August and I'm now under 2 months away from needing to have Zura's Micron Plus build done to take to him at 3D Printopia. Hey, Philinux, how's it going? Welcome on in. Welcome in. Eagle the Dragon, I'm doing good, buddy. Hope you're doing well as well. Work was, it was work. It is work, you know. But yeah, we're doing good. We got, let's see, I got a surprise package in the mail yesterday. I would grab it, but it's downstairs. And that surprise package was from Jason with LDO Motors. So, I got sent a Jabberwocky kit. So we will be building a Jabberwocky here on stream. Dragoon 1 over here is actually printing out the second plate of parts. So it's just 3 plates of parts for that. And it's really because there's, well, there should be 4 plates of parts. 3 plates of colored, right? So there's an A, there's a B, and a main. There's an A, a B, and a main color. And there's a couple of translucent bits and bobs that would need to be printed out. And I know I printed it out when I did my last set of translucent files because, well, the 3MF literally says Jabberwocky in it. And I know I printed it out. I have no idea where they're at, so guess what I'll be doing? We'll be putting some clear PET G over here and printing out translucent parts. Yeah, it's always fun. Fresh noobish, what is a Jabberwocky in the 3DP arena? Okay, I've got another one over here. KB3D had actually handed me one at Murph, and I'll toss this up. So Jaberwocky is a toolhead. Okay. Jabberwocky, it uses a Conch toolhead, which is Phaetus's toolhead that's a drop-in replacement for the Bamboo X1C and P1s. Okay. So it uses that hot end, 2510 cooling fan for the front, though let me double check. It might be a, I will take a look. So inside the box you get 2 boxes, Jabberwocky kit and the Nighthawk 36 kit. So the Jabberwocky, once again, is a toolhead. Let me go ahead and pull up the web page. And let me see if I can not that. Ay, ay, ay. All right, give me 1 second. Here we go. Hey, Free Heathen, how's it going? All right, be right back. Sounds good. So let me go over here to the other display. And this is basically a Jabberwocky toolhead. It is a full and complete toolhead solution for filament changers, right? Specifically designed for filament changers. So it does have a filament cutter in it. Can I bring that full screen? Or a little more full screen. So it has cable strain relief, dual sensor there in the top hat area right here where you've got your light. There is a sensor above and a sensor below the LED that backlights this center piece right here. So that's your dual sensor filament array. It uses the Bondtech compound drive gears, the Nighthawk 36 tool board. It does have a filament cutter and bearings at the top and bottom, so there's no plastic that it's slicing through. High static pressure 3010 fans for cooling, and a Phaetus Conch 35 millimeter cube per second hot end. And I will tell you, I've pushed higher than that through a conch. Multi-adjustment tension arm, the LDO NEMA 14 stepper motor, dual non-threaded orbiter gears. That's the interesting part. I'm going to have to look at that. The status LED, no tool hinged extruder design. The extruder can literally pop off just by pulling a lever. And yeah, it's a 2510 for the hot end cooling, and dual nozzle LEDs. It is an upgrade replacement toolhead for, well, this is not. The hot end that it chooses to use, I just realized we got the other, let me kill that, there we go. The hot end that it uses is the Conch hot end. So there's that, there's that. Yeah, so let me grab a couple of bags out of here and I will show you the hot end. So Jabberwocky is a tool head that will go on like a Voron or a well, any type of Voron or, you know, built printer, whether it's a like a Micron Plus, any of the printers for ants, or anything like that. But the tool head that it uses is the Phaetus Conch tool head. So if you're familiar, this is the same tool head design that fits into the P1 and the X1 series. Okay. And I've gotten a couple of these. I was a beta tester for these, so I've got two of these that are or were in my bamboos right behind us here. And I have successfully clogged both of them up at the top. So I just need to take them apart and clean them out, and then we'll get these back in there. So this is specifically designed for tool changers, and that can be like a Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder or a Tradrack or a box turtle. That's what it had in mind. So these will work with anything like that. Yep, very, very fancy. So everything is in these two boxes to include, as LDO loves to do, your pre-soldered LEDs and your you know, everything's cut to length and soldered in there, which I love LDO for that reason alone. Makes the build process so much easier when everything's already done and you're not trying to do tiny crimps or soldering. Oh yeah, not a problem, Philinux. Like I said, this is something new. I believe these kits are right around 150 bucks, 140 bucks on the websites here, and that's going to be, you know, 140 to 150 bucks on the Triad. By the Triad, I'm going to say that's KB3D, Fabrico, West 3D, what have you. I just happened to pull up the Fabrico site. But what we're here to look at today is Magenta Rising. And I'm going to close some tabs here. I think we're good with most of that. Yeah, so without further ado, I am going to go over to the bench cam. And this is kind of Magenta Rising. We are zoomed way in on her right now. But there we go. So I called her Magenta Rising because the primary color here is neon magenta. I do have the front doors on, and I have the top panel on and the deck panel on. I don't have the sides on yet because I am waiting on some UV lights to come in. And once I get the UV lights in, they'll mount up on either side up here at the top. And once I get the first set in, if I like it, then I'll leave it alone. If I don't like it, and I think there needs to be more, because we do have, oh, this is not going to work. We do have magenta skirts down here all the way around. Then I can put another set of lights up underneath the Y-axes right here that can light up the lower half as well. Now, I didn't notice, I knew I bought the hybrid panel kit. I thought this lower panel was going to be a clear panel instead of a black opaque panel. So I do have a clear one that I might take if I take this printer to 3D Printopia to show off the wiring on this. Because once again, this is a dual setup. So our gantry motors up here, so our X and Y motors, are running at 48 volts. They are the Kraken motors, sponsored by West 3D. And then this pretty much the entire build, and the reason we've renamed it, has been completely rebuilt. The only thing that came out of Mercury Rising was the bed, the Z motors, the Z lead screws, and the Z yoke linear rails. Everything else here is brand new. From the Nebula frame, which is what started this project, to all CNC gantry and motor mounts. And oh, by the way, its smaller brother over there, I've got everything for the Z-axis to replace it with CNC parts, and I'm going to go ahead and purchase the gantry, and we're going to upgrade the smaller one and do the same thing, bring it up to 9mm belts and everything. I don't think I'm going to reprint that one. That one is a Galaxy Gray and a Fusion Blue, I think, or maybe it's like a Sparkle Blue filament. And I'm going to keep that one, but I can show you that she is moving under her own power now. And like I said, I'm just waiting for the lights to come in to finish buttoning her up. Now, a few things that have happened. We've got, all right, let me sit down and bring my brain to bear here. I'll do a Z tilt adjust while we're waiting. We do have a Manta M8P board that is controlling everything. That board has a CB2 from Big Tree Tech acting as the host computer instead of a Raspberry Pi. Provides a nice package. We don't need a separate 5-volt power supply that way. So our power in this system is a UHP 350 24 volt and a UHP 350 48 volt. We're going to be able to amp this up and run those Core XY gantry motors a little bit hotter. I say hotter, but faster. Oh wow, that's interesting, Timor. Let's see, what else do we have? We have the hot end, or the tool head on this is sorry, I'm listening to it make noises and chirp at me right now. The tool head on this is running an Orbiter 2 tool head, or extruder, with a smart filament runout sensor. We have the Orbitool O2 tool head board on it. And so that is a USB tool head board. So in our umbilical up here, we have a nice light on the back of that Orbitool, isn't it? We have one USB cable. It's the what they call the XT32+2. So it's an XT30 connector with two JST right next to it. And that is going down to a daughter board underneath the deck panel for the Orbitool. So that provides the 24 volt power and the USB serial communication data to the tool head board. There's also a dedicated USB cable down there that goes back to the CB2 USB ports, and that is for the beacon probe. So right now we are doing beacon on here. I have not configured what do they call it, beacon contact just yet, but I have run through the basic commissioning to make sure that all the motors are working in the right direction, that the PID tune was done, all of my homing sensors are done. Of course, we can home, we can Z tilt adjust and all that good stuff. I need to hot tighten the nozzle on here real fast, and then we'll be able to actually install some filament. My Z-axis is making a little squeaking noise, and I was concerned. So one of the things I did earlier today before stream was put in a set of thrust washers underneath each of the Z lead screws. So that takes off the, or was it the downward axial load, and supports the actual motor itself to keep that from bending or actually pushing the shaft of the motor down and bottoming out on the motor. I am getting a little squeaking. It's quite possible what I can do is do about a quarter turn off of the screws that are holding the lead screw nuts into the metal part here, run it up and down a couple of times, and then screw those back down, and that should fix whatever is slightly binding. I have put a little bit of grease on here. These are palm lead screw nuts on palm coated lead screws. And all I'm doing is dropping that down to give me some room to use my torque wrench. And we're going to grab that extruder and we're going to put it up to like 280. I think we can go to 280. I ought to check that. Not, we'll time it out real fast as it goes into a thermal overload. What do I set my max temperature to? Hey, max temp 300 degrees. Sweet. So 280 will be fine. It is an eddy current sensor for the bed, and it is mounted at the lower rear, literally right underneath the part cooling fan flow ducts. So I'm going to get this up to temperature and let this stabilize. While it's doing that, I do want to show you the full display here. And I just want to see the number of different sensors that we have on this particular build. So we've got the normal extruder, heated bed. We've got the controller fan. So this controller fan is set to come on if the controller, the host controller, the CB2, ever gets to 60 degrees. There is a 4010 fan that is sitting on top of the heat sink that I just installed today that I realized I put the panel back on and actually didn't connect the 40 volt or the 4010 fan to anything, so we'll keep an eye on that. There are 4 fans, however, that are configured. There are 4 3010 fans that sit right over the heat sinks of the stepper drivers. So when needed, when this temperature hits 60 degrees, it will turn on those 4 fans, and it will also set up to turn on that 4010 fan. Once I actually get it plugged in, I'll just add it to the array. You'll see that we have a temperature reading from the beacon coil itself, which is 23 degrees Celsius. The CB2 is reading 51.3. The hot end power, this is actually a power rating, not actually, or yeah, it's the temperature on the hot end power. I've got a temperature sensor in each of the Kraken motors, both left and right. So as we start running them and doing a print, we can manage and see the temps of those motors as they go up and down. We've got a temperature sensor for the Manta M8P. This is the STEM32 chip on the actual MCU motherboard. And then a temperature reading on the Orbital board itself. So this thing is all kinds of sensored up right now. We've got this up to 280. Normally they say to go to like 265 when you hot tighten and torque your hot end down. And all I'm going to do is take my torque wrench. I'll switch back over here to the bench side. So this is a torque wrench. I think I got it from West 3D. It is calibrated to 1.4 Newton meters. So I'm going to just set this on the nozzle and turn until you hear that click. I try to do it twice just to make sure. Now we just hot and tighten this. That is crucial when you don't have a full throat hot end setup like these ones here. This is for a Mark IV. So if you've got something like this or a Revo or a Unicorn nozzle, then you're good. You should be able to hot tighten these without a problem, because what we just did was we tightened the threads of the nozzle up against the heat throat itself. If that's not hot tightened, you can get leaks there and have a lot of issues. And you'll get a blob of death real easily on your nozzles if you're not careful. Yes, Revo. Okay, so we just hot tightened the nozzle. We have PID tuned this. We PID tuned the hot end and the heat bed. And what PID tuning does is it sets the parameters for power and the, so it's the parameters and the, oh gosh, words on stream are so hard sometimes. It sets your parameters and your, I'll call it like your bang settings for your hot end, and it allows you to get close and sneak up on your temperatures versus overshooting and then coming back. Because a lot of times, especially if you're getting close to your max temp that you set, if you overshoot, you'll trip the fail-safe mechanisms that should be in your firmware to prevent a thermal runaway event, and the printer will shut down. So having a good PID tune is definitely something that you want to do. And also having the appropriate torque wrench to torque down your hot end is definitely needed. But we've PID tuned both the bed and the hot end. I think 245 on the hot end and 80 on the bed, because once again, right now I don't have panels on it, so just trying to PID tune it to 80 sucked. So there's a 370 by 377 build volume, and there's a lot of air movement here, and with the AC kicking on, it kind of takes a little bit. Once we get the panels in, I will have to re-PID tune the bed and the hot end up to the ABS temps that I plan on doing. And also, you want to hot calibrate your beacon probe. So I had calibrated the beacon probe cold, and then did a Z offset cold. Then I heated up the hot end and the bed, and once again did the Z offset with the beacon probe once everything had stabilized at standard temps. So once I enclose it and we start going up to ABS temps, we'll have to do that procedure again. Otherwise, we'll have some bad layers and have a chance of driving the nozzle into the bed. Hey, Lee Marie, how's it going? So this is Magenta Rising. You know, I've got the door panels on and the top panel on and the deck panels on, and I love this right here, the ZeroG on our door handles, which probably doesn't show up all that well. But yeah, this, I think you've seen the smaller one at Murph. This is the bigger brother. So this is the Ender 5 Plus size. I do have PTFE tube plumbed into it. I was going to load filament, and we will start trying to get our first layer fully dialed in and get a print going on this. And then who knows, maybe we'll use this to print a second set of Jabberwocky parts, since I now have 2 Jabberwockies. The Jabberwocky parts that I'm printing right now technically do not match the color scheme of any printer I have in my inventory at this moment. But it just means that I'll have a tool head that doesn't match anything, and I just have to build a new printer to match the color scheme, right? Is that basically what that means? So I'm going to tell you right now, we haven't finished the riff, but I have 95 to 98% of the parts right now to build a second riff. and potentially even build it as the 300 by 900 build volume. So just a thought. And with today, we are going to print with Cosmic Plum from EPAX. So that's the color we're going to use today. And I'm actually going to step in front of the camera so I can get this loaded. So on the side of the printer here, we've got this J-hook, and it actually will mount with screws to the top and the side of the top left frame. And the PTFE tube comes around and goes through one of the, I was going to say the top mounts, but one of the top panel mounts. It's actually got a built-in spot for it. Hopefully that's stable enough. Normally you'd have a panel here that would help hold it in place, which I do not have at the moment because I wasn't going to install it. That's a bit worrisome. I might need to... All right, we're going to hold off for a second, and I'm going to temporarily install that side panel for safety's sake, so that we don't yeet something and break something on a brand new printer, because I would cry at this point if I break something on this printer. Or I could potentially just freewheel it off the ground. We can do that too. We can do that too. We have the ability to do that. I have a spool holder over here somewhere, don't I? Are you kidding me? I know I've moved it recently. All right. We'll use this one. It's a little big, but it'll work. With that there, we'll pull this back off. That out of the way. And we have not done any, yeah, I just realized I haven't done any flow calibration or anything. And the nice thing I like with the Orbiter sensor is you put filament in, and as soon as it senses the filament, it starts doing the load sequence. So it will pull it in a little bit into the tool head, and then it will heat up to the design or the temperature you set in the firmware and the config file, and then it loads the filament. So we're getting filament loaded right off the bat now. Now the question is whether the load distance is set right. I'm going to say that it was, since we now have filament loaded, right? So, since I don't have a way of measuring at the top, I'm going to measure from the PTFE tube inlet side here, because once again, we need to calibrate our E-steps. So we'll grab a Sharpie and a measuring device. We're going to grab the camera out of the garbage can that we just dropped in there, because, well, we might want to put it on this printer. I'm going to do my best not to yeet these doors off in the process of walking around. Another thing that'll make me cry. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up with the end of the PTFE tube. We're going to come out here and I'm going to mark it at 120. And we're going to do the standard. We're going to set our we'll set our configuration for 50 millimeters of filament length. We're going to set it down to 2 millimeters. You want to go as slow as possible to get the most accurate color or extrusion. And then we're going to tell it to extrude once and twice. So it should now, we just told it to extrude 100 millimeters. We measured for 120. Once it's done extruding this filament, we'll be able to measure the gap between the PTFE tube and the line that we made, and then do the calculation for the adjustment. Okay, and it looks like it has completed. So let me come over here and take the measurement. And I swear to you, I did not check this ahead of time, but we are spot on. So what we can do is scoot that up just a little bit more. We'll pull our door around. Keep both doors out of the way. Sorry that I keep walking in front of the camera, but this is literally sitting on the floor right behind me. And we need to drop our temperature. We need to slice something for this. We need to slice something for this. I'm going to slice something over on the other computer real fast. Slicer, this would be Orca. What I'm going to do is, this is in essence the exact same thing as Mercury Rising, just with a different IP address. So I'm going to use Orca Slicer and my existing profile for Mercury Rising to create the file. I'll export it and then upload it and go that way. Standard. Thing. Let's do a first layer test. And what we're going to do is we're going to just add a primitive, right? We'll make it, we'll change the scale on it to, we'll say 120 by 120 by 0.4. So that's 2 layers, 100, 100, 120 by 120 millimeter square, 2 layers high right in the middle. That gives us plenty of time to fine tune a first layer, right? Or at least that's what I found. So we'll slice that, export that G code. Call it first layer test. Put it right there in 3D print, save. And we'll come over G-code files, upload. And we'll get this first layer test started. Once again, by doing this, this is going to allow us to validate that our first layer as defined by the beacon is good. And we'll be good to go. And I like this color too. This is a nice color. Whoops. Hey, Timor, how's it going, friend? Welcome in. I am going to be at 3D Printopia. I'm also trying to decide which printers to bring with me to 3D Printopia, just because, yeah, I'm just not sure which printers I'm going to bring. We've got a couple of really cool printers that I think would be good. Now, I'm trying to get with Chris to figure out exactly where I'm sitting, because there was a comment made that I was going to be moved down to the first floor next to Ecovate 3D. And if so, then that, I'll say, gives me an expanded area, because I'm going to take an automated, and I will have the printer and the automated set up in their booth with the with some of my printers in my booth. And I'm thinking about bringing this one and the Rift 600. We just have to figure out and make sure we get everything in the vehicle. And I'm bringing coffee, yes. And if KB3D Chris or Chris 2 are in here, or if anybody sees them online since they've been hiding lately, we're going to have to hit Aberdeen Diner like every morning if we're switching up to Philly next year. I could bring that black box with me. I'm sure. The black box, no. Black box doesn't go anywhere. Have you found your positron yet, Jeremy? I'm just curious if you've got your positron yet. Damn positron. Yeah. Tell you what, I took Broken Dragon down to Ecovate and pulled it out of the case, set it up, and she's printing good. Considering she's been in the case for a little bit. Don't even start. Yeah, where is your positron? I guess we need to start putting, there needs to be a mod to mount an air tag inside your positron. Yeah, I gotta really figure out which one of these lead screws is chirping. Like I said, there is a mod that I found, and I did put thrush bearings underneath the Z lead screws, so it reduces the axial loads, if I remember right, on the actual motors itself from the weight of this bed sitting on top of it. This is not a light bed. This is, I believe this is a 8 mil thick, 370 by 377 bed. So it's not light at all. there's a reason I waited till the last minute to put the bed in this. Can't wait for the Speedo stream when Keela raises $1,000 for Stand Up to Cancer. I'm not sure if I want to give money for him to be in a Speedo or money to keep him out of a Speedo, Liz. I mean, it could go either way. I saw some of the I saw the video they posted about Keela getting slimed. He snuck that in at the end of the video. But yeah, I did not hear about Jeremy in a Speedo for a stream. That's kind of scary. Like, that's definitely got to be an 18 plus stream. And while this is going, I think we just had an ad that's getting ready to start, but I do want to come over here and take a look because I can't remember what I got it set to. Yeah, I currently have the XY set for 1.1 amps, and I know I can definitely take it higher. I'm kind of starting slow, and then I'm going to ramp it up. Gotta love the beacon. I also don't want to, I'm trying to give the belt a chance to break in a little bit, and I'm very much listening to the printer to see if I can hear any mechanical issue that would cause me problems before I really crank these motors up. Right now they're at, now let's see what the height map looks like here. Oh, that's an interesting taco shape. Now, mind you, that's 0.225 millimeter range. And that's something that definitely I can work out. But this is a hard mount as well. So yeah, I'm currently the belts. These are 9 millimeter belts, and they're tensioned at around 160 hertz right now. It is doing a purge line. Okay, and I cannot see. I see zero filament coming out. I feel zero filament coming out. I'm going to adjust it up some just to see if there's I see no filament coming out whatsoever. All right. We're going to have to see what's going on here. We're at 220. And like I said, I'm seeing no filament coming out. Why are we getting no filament out? Not getting anything from that. Okay, we had good extrusion. Why am I getting zero filament now? There should be no way. And actually, I'm seeing no filament movement. Because I'm not seeing anything moving from the mark either. This PLA plus. Huh. What is going on here? Good old nozzle blob. Okay. So, bear with me real fast. We're going to be moving this camera back around. Because I can't show you the hot end, and I'm going to have to go digging into hot end. Well, darn it. Well, this is going to make for a less than exciting stream if we completely just fork the nozzle on the first go. Actually, I wonder. Let me think through that. We might still be good. I mean, I'm still gonna have to take things off, but what I mean by we might still be good is, so one of the problems with orbiters is if you get a blob, yeah, it'll just chew through things, and well, it will chew through the filament some, and because it's got plenty of torque, and it will just push its way through. But the other problem that we run into is the words on stream again. Seriously, words on stream. If you get a blob on the end and try and pull it out, you can't, because of the, if it's hot, you stand a good chance of getting it out. But if it's not fully hot, you're not going to get that blob out through the extruder because of the metal throat that's at the bottom of the extruder. The blob just can't get out because it can't compress down through that metal part of the extruder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo most of these to take the top panel off. We really don't need the top panel in place for what we're doing today, but I'm going to undo just enough to get the top panel off. So that I can then get in there and work on getting that filament cleared out. I am hoping that I don't have to take too much apart on it. That primarily what I need to take off is, or that I can just get the extruder itself out. Yep. So can I just undo the two extruder? I think I can just undo the two extruder screws and lift it up. But to be on the safe side, we are going to shut it down. And that includes power button off in the front. Oh, come on, you. Yeah. So power button off at the front. I'll move this over some. So that orbiter motor's feeling pretty toasty. I wonder if that has something to do with filament getting a little cool. Or a little warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the two screws that mount the orbiter 2 in place. And of course, all of our wiring comes back to the back panel. That's going to be the tricky part, is whether or not we've got, I'll say, enough length that I can pull this clear and work on it. This is why I wanted to shut the printer off. And I'll push this back through. I'll clip the end off, and then I'll show you what I was talking about. So we'll clip this end off. We'll pull this back through. And I'll go ahead and get this mounted back on here. Come on. Trying to find or get it on the PTF YouTube again. Or we just break that off. What is going on? I don't know why this is being such a pickle right now as far as sitting down on there. There we go. And that's awesome that I just pulled the front plate off. This will be reprinting the front plate. Did I have a... maybe. All right, that means I'm going to have to keep you guys over there because if not, it'll be too close. I will trim some of this off and I'll show you kind of what we run into. So an issue with the orbiters is you can get a blob like that. See how that kind of elongates and blobs out? So the problem with that is it can't pull back up through the metal throat in the orbiter, and then you wind up starting to grind the filament, which is right there by that knuckle. You can see the filament starting to grind there already right here. So you do have to be careful about that. So let's, everything's still in place. We are plugged in. Let me power it back on. Once again, top panel, I'm going to leave that off. Once it wakes up, I will go ahead and load the filament again. Hey, Kit Skyfire, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. We are working to get our first print on this machine. We just, of course, we did a, we tested out our filament, whatchamacallit, E-steps, and we got those squared away. And then we immediately ran into an issue with a nozzle clog, which I have had happen before. Oh, I guess it helps if I actually put the tensioner on there, huh? Good enough. It's going to heat up the hot end to 230 degrees Celsius. Not what I wanted. Hey, Petty Ruxpin, how's it going? Jedi Spidey, what's up, dude? So we've got the, let me see if I can't move this out of the way a little bit. We've got the ZeroG over here. We are working on getting the first print to go down on it. And I just pulled the front cover off. So I'm going to have to reprint the front cover because I pulled these screw covers are not very thick. And as I pulled it forward a little bit to get the orbiter up, I literally ripped the front off. So I'm going to have to reprint that. Hey, Additive Adam, how's it going? So that should have loaded our filament, which is good. Ow, a little warm. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is start that first layer test again as it cools down. And I'm going to say, are there any suggestions on a first real print once we get the first layer dialed in here? Almost fell off the back of the stool. You finally got your G2E Filomatrix built, and it actually works. Sweet. Yeah, we will be building give me a second here. We're going to be building a Jabberwocky soon. This is the one I got from KB3D at Midwest Rep Rap Festival, and completely shocked. I had one show up from Jason at LDO Motors. It came in yesterday. I was sitting there trying to figure out who is sending me a package. I had no package. Like, I don't understand. And of course, Mrs. Draggett brings it over to me. Another package. I'm like, seriously, I have no idea what this is. And we opened it up, and it was a Jabberwocky, and I was just like, oh wow, that is awesome. So I had to get on the interwebs and get on X and send him a thank you. So we will be building 2 Jabberwockies. You said package, giggly giggity, giggity giggity. Oh man. Yeah. I tell you what, these doors, there's a magnet here, here, at the bottom corners, and then in the handles, there are magnets top and bottom. And when I say magnets, 2 magnets, 1 magnet, 2 magnets in each of these, and these are 10 by 3 magnets. They hold things. They definitely will hold things shut. And a little bit different here, all of our foam is actually installed on the frame all the way around. It's not on the panels itself. So if you ever have to swap a panel because you get crazing or something like that, you don't have to redo all of the foam tape. It's already there. Didn't even need a Neo, right? I'm not sure if you need a Neo Pixel for that. Yes, Jason is an awesome guy. And I am still waiting. I need to, I think mid to late this month is when I should get shipping notification of the Stealth Changer toolkit, the Stealth Changer kits that are coming in to upgrade Fade Dragon to a Stealth Changer. Now, I cannot get distracted and start working on that. First, we've got to get Zura's build done. And that is a Micron Plus. And I printed out the list. I don't want to say the list of demands, but this was his build list. So it's the Fabrico Micron Plus kit, of which he already removed the 4 Z motors and gave them to Brecor Justin. The mods are including Galileo 2 Z motors. They were assembled, but they have to be taken apart and reassembled because of the R1 mod. He has a GB15 CAN bus stepper board. That's a little CAN bus board that mounts in the back between the X and Y motors. And you can run those X and Y motors via CAN bus. A K3 style door using Pandora's Summit door. It's going to have an LDO Leviathan motherboard with a Raspberry Pi 4 and a Pi TFT 4.3. Hey, Stay Creepin', how's it going? Welcome in. Build list, motivation 2, C1. Yep, there you go. The tool head, he wants an ant head without the leaf cutter, which means he's not building it for filament changing. He has the metal tool head carriage for the Micron or Solid Fork, IGUS chain flex, Very nice. An EBB36 toolhead board. A Galileo 2 wristwatch extruder, which was already built, and I'm not sure if I have to rebuild that or not. Hopefully not. And then he's going to have a Revo with the Revo PZ. So that's something else that's going to be new that I'm going to have to work at. Luckily, I think I just saw Steve build his Micron with a Pizio. So I've got videos I can watch on how to do half the mods. And if I get stuck, I can always look at Steve Build's build, because why wouldn't you? All right. I'm going to reach over here and see if I feel the tug. I am. And yes, we do have filament coming out, so that's good. Hey, K2, how's it going? I need to fix that. High accelerations on this is making noise right now. So I do have filament going down. Could be a little bit too low. Let me raise it up 0.05 millimeter. So once again, I originally had you guys up closer, but I kind of ripped the front shroud off, so I can't bring you guys in too close right yet. Do you guys have a suggestion for a print that we can do tonight? Because this is a first layer print, and once we get this done, and I feel I'm dialed in, which, yeah, we're dialed in. We're going to need something else to print. We can go big. This is a brand new spool, so we got a 1 kilogram spool here. So we can go fairly big. I mean, it is a big printer, 370 by 377 by 420, so. How bad is it? I'm sitting here with my mouse looking at my laptop trying to figure out why the mouse isn't moving. It's going to be one of those days. One of those days. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sarah. Not sponsored, but caffeinated by the Black Rifle Coffee Company. These are their new energy drinks. They taste a heck of a lot better than like Monster does. So, print the giant space asteroid potato. The hell is a space asteroid potato? Hmm. That a British sitcom? I think we can probably do something a little bit better than that. Not tools. But this stuff looks pretty cool, by the way. And you guys, oh yeah, you can see me a little bit down there. This creative light track, that stuff looks really cool. We can do a big planner. Does anybody have a new design out that they would like me to print? Single color. And like I said, folks, I am keeping the speed down on this right now and the accelerations, just because I'm trying to break in these motors. And I am hearing some, like when it does fast acceleration on the XY, I am hearing a lot of noise. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, is that writing down for? So this rear belt here is dropping down every time it makes a move to the left. And it's riding on the flange, but that makes zero sense. Why or how would it even do that? I'm going to stop this print because I don't want to. One, the first layer is going down fine. Two, I don't want to damage the belt any more than it's already getting messed up. But I just noticed that as it's going side to side, this lower belt is dropping down onto the flange, and I have no idea why or how it would even do that. Like it's not riding straight or something. Okay, and our first layer test here. There was our first layer going down. Everything's looking nice. And if we pull on it, it's not tearing. So that's really good layer adhesion right there. That's exactly what we're looking for. No real bumps, no wiggles, no squiggles, and really, really good, because this is just one layer. So if you can't pull it apart like that, that's exactly what you're looking for. Okay? So we're going to save the config, because I did raise it 0.05. So I do want to save that config. And I am going to shut the motors off so that I can move these motors some. And I really want to look at that lower belt all the way around. Might be rolling up on this pulley right here too. When you're moving things, move it relatively slowly. So I'm debating what could be causing this problem. So it's the lower belt, left side over here, and it keeps riding down on the pulley over here, the idler over here. And I don't know why. Live idler here, live idler over there for the top. Bottom's going over. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's definitely got to be something that we need to look at, because if we don't, that can cause us major issues with our belt. And while I have enough belt to do like one more, if I need to replace it, I'd prefer not to destroy a 9mm belt right off the bat. And I don't know why that belt would float some. I wish Turtle Crawler was in here. It's your main model that everyone needs in their life. Gotcha. Let me. I think it's a 2mm. Let me try and loosen this pulley over here, and then we'll run it through its paces a little bit and see if it's a pulley alignment issue. And I still feel like it's running up over on this other side, even after making that adjustment. It is definitely, there's some type of angle difference between these two sides that keeps causing this belt to ride up on the edge of the pulley over here. Ah, this front motor mount is not, I've got a front motor mount that's not actually locked in. It's lifted up right here in the front. That's causing this motor mount to not align appropriately. Okay. Issue found. Now to get the issue solved. Something just wonked out of alignment. Okay. So I kind of feel like I've got the issue. We're going to have to do some potentials for repair here because I have a feeling that um I'm going to try and do this even though I've got tension here. Yeah, that's the issue. My T-nut is not in there straight, and because of it, the thing's not going in. Darn it. And that didn't go in there straight again. Parts there. For whatever reason, that is not catching. Should be perfectly fine down in there. Sorry, folks, bear with me. I'm trying to fix this because if we don't get it fixed, we're going to have an issue. That's a 55 millimeter bolt. Might be too long, but we'll see. We'll put a washer underneath the head. We need a couple of washers underneath the head here. Okay, so that's down now. I'll need my M3 back here for this one. Sorry, folks. I know this isn't dramatic for you. Come on. Here we go. All right, now we're still popping just a little bit at the end there. All right. Let's see if this solved things a little bit or not. Watering a little, but not nearly as much as it was. So I think that was the corrective action to take. Sorry about that, folks, but I think now we've got that solved. Move that back. What's everybody working on these days? Hopefully something cool. Hopefully something cool. Really got to figure out which one of those is making the chirping noise. Cooking dinner, that's good. Maker chips, gotcha. Completed the custom big screen TD1 Fire Dragon Hue Forge Edition. Wow. That was a mouthful out of Adam, but yeah, you've been doing a lot of Hue Forges lately. Porker chops, baked potato, and fresh peas. That sounds good, CGS. You're printing Fabrico's chips now? That's nice of you. Modifying a K1C to multicolor. Which multicolor are you using, Timor? Is it the actual Creality kit with the CFS? Okay, now the question is, did that actually get there? It did. Good. Now, I do not know which one of these is making noise, but I am going to give a couple of them some EP2, which shouldn't, I mean, theoretically shouldn't be required, but apparently might need to be. We'll see. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out something real fast that we could do. Ooh, a Red Bull crate. You know, I think this is going to be it right now. We're going to do a Cyberrook. It's a chess piece. And it looks pretty small, but if we supersize it to say 200%, it'll get a little bit bigger. 100 millimeters tall. Take 2.5 hours to print. It has floating regions. Really? Doesn't look like it would need. Maybe we should be able to get there. Sorry, no, I'm kind of playing across the two here. You're going to do the CFS? Nice. You had a beef patty and salad. That sounds pretty good, but also just, we'll say semi-plain. But it depends, like how you season the patty, what you put in the patty, you know, the salad. Could be good. I mean, I'm having a protein hydration drink with electrolytes, which has 15 grams of protein in it. Your pitas were frozen. How dare they? Greek yumminess. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so the bed's heating up. We're going to print a Cyberrook at 200%. And we'll see how that goes. The Cyberrook is this little guy right here. Has some kind of cool little designs on it. We'll see it. It might have an overhang right down here at the bottom at that first level that might print poorly, but we'll see. And if it does, oh well. If it doesn't, does it say we need to use supports? With little to no supports. Oh well, I sliced it without supports. It's probably going to need supports. Ooh, let's see. Yeah. Let's put the word in the right frame. There we go. The other thing that we can do is, just look at the actual, because I like doing this as well, is the rocket engine, the printables rocket engine. So come over here to monitor that. I did just download the rocket engine. So I'll go ahead and see what that does. So that is 200 millimeters high. So technically, if I max that to 200%, it does go over just a shade. Like a full build height right there. What would that take? So the squeak's gone down a little bit, but it's still present. And it's only when it's coming up, when it's under the load. Wow, I did not realize that just decided to come over on me, didn't it? Why? Stop. Wrong way. Focus on the squeaking machine. And I just realized that it is not doing like camp, but it is doing the beacony thing. Oh yeah, you got to have feta cheese, especially if you're saying it's Greek. You got to have the feta cheese. That's not bad. All right, thanks for the look, Pezlis. So it's doing our little purge line in the front. And then, like I said, I did the CyberRook, but I made it 200%, so it is a little tall. And I really hate that it's still making that noise, so I got to figure out what is causing said noise. I'm also running the rear motors at 1 amp, and they can really go up to 2 amp. So it might literally be that yeah, and I just skipped steps big time. So we're going to stop that, cancel that print. Dashboard, no, not dashboard. Navigation, no. UI. Give me the cancel button. Okay, what is going on here? I mean, the thing went down well. That was perfectly fine, but we skipped steps, and I wonder, now that I fixed this, if my tensions are slightly different now. The other thing I wanted to do was X motor. We're going to go to 2.0. Y motor. We're going to go to 2.0. And we're going to run these at 2 amps. I'm going to move this over here. And grab this keyboard. Because what we're going to do is we're going to run the shake tune again. I say shake tune, but I want to check my belts. Now that I realize that those mounts weren't correct, my belts may be off now. So we're going to compare belt responses. We're going to home, Z-tilt, home, and then we'll do the belt run again. Actually, we just home. We don't need to do Z-tilt and stuff. What this is going to do is it's going to check both belts to make sure that they are tensioned the same. And I think now that we made that change back here, it may throw our belts off some. And I'm going to have to adjust these pulleys some too, because this belt, the top belt that's being checked right now, is actually riding at the top edge of the pulley. So it's not centered on the pulley, which could be inducing some drag and friction. Earthquake, uh-oh. You're wearing your OG Digital Dragon shirt and running out for a quick couple of kilometers for stand up to cancer. Awesome, Liz. Enjoy the walk, I'm assuming. And yeah, I was wearing my OG shirt yesterday after I got cleaned up after I went out and mowed the yard. So the quake was only a 3.6, but was 3 miles away. Not the aftershocks, or now the aftershocks are producing a slow roll effect. Oof. Yeah, I've had a few earthquakes. I lived up in Alaska and I lived in California for a while, and yeah, those kind of get weird. So running those motors now at 2 amp, we're getting about 39 to 40 degrees on those motors as we're running them. I'm going to check this other belt now that we're... Yeah, this one looks like it's going a little at the... It's too close to the bottom edge now, so I need to really move both belts, or both pulleys slightly. Okay. You'll take hurricane over an earthquake any day of the week. I mean, earthquakes aren't really that bad. I say that because the ones that I dealt with were not like, 7+ on the Richter scale, but it will wake you up out of a sleep. It will scare the hell out of you until you realize what's going on. But then after a while and you get a little more used to it, you just roll over and go back to sleep. And then I was in Wright-Patterson at Dayton, Ohio, which was part of Tornado Alley. So we had a lot of tornado scares. I grew up in Florida with hurricanes, so I've done hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes. The only thing I haven't done is like volcanic eruptions. Okay, so it just completed. It's now doing the calculation for the comparison charts. Which can take a couple of minutes. And it's doing all of this in the background running scripts. This is part of the shake tune macros, which is part of the Clipane stuff. So, but this gives you several macros that you can run to do various types of things. Meteor strikes. No, well, there have been meteor strikes, just nothing in recent history with anything larger than, that doesn't really burn up in the atmosphere. Okay, mechanical health, we're at 97.9%. Belt similarity, which is a little bit less than where I was. Mechanical health, potential signs of a mechanical issue. So that's something that we can look at. Like I said, I think both of the belts need, or the pulleys need to be adjusted ever so slightly. But what you'll get is there's a Shake Tune folder here that gets installed. When you click on that, you'll see you have the axis map, belt, input shaper, static frequency, and vibration testing. So if you look at your belts, you'll have the first one I did on August 3rd. And this is what it looked like, where our belts were peaking right about the same point, and then we had some noise. This noise here is where it's saying that there's potential mechanical issue. So now I want to look at that, and we'll look at today's result now that we fixed that one, and you'll see we've got some, our spikes aren't exactly peaking at the same point, but our aftermath isn't as much. So we're still getting a little bit of weirdness, not a lot. The other thing I want you to notice is this is a 1e6, so 1 to the 6th exponent, where this other one, nope, that's still a 1e6, and we were spiking up around close to the 1.6. And this is a lot lower as far as amplitude goes here. So some interesting stuff going on. I'm curious now, because we fixed this motor the way it was mounting, so it's not trying to pull itself out of the mounts. I'm going to adjust the pulleys up and down a little bit as needed, and then we will we'll check the tension to see if we'll check the belt tension to see if we need to tension one way or the other. So we'll do that. We'll scoot this forward. Find my pulley screws. And once again, this one is looking like it might be a little high. Yeah, so we've got to pull this down some. Not a lot. Too much. Basically what you're looking for is you're trying to get your belt centered on the pulley and not rubbing up against the top or the bottom of your pulley. If you can do that, you're in the right spot. Okay, one side fixed. I'm realizing I've got filament unspooling over here very badly. Definitely need to fix this before we have an issue. This one height is fixed. This one we need to work on a little bit as well. This is too high, so we need to go up or down. Okay. So I think we're decently spaced now. I'm dropping my phone everywhere. Now we're going to go ahead and find our 150 millimeter mark between our pulleys. And I'm going to check for my resonances, right? So we'll go to our resonance app. And we're going to strum our belts. Okay, that's interesting. They feel really close to the same, but the right one, the one that we had to fix the motor mount back here, is at 200 hertz, where the left one is at 150 hertz, which is really weird. Slightly a bit different. So I'm going to loosen this M5 locking bolt, and then I'm going to tighten this one a couple of turns. So I just tightened the left side 2 full turns. Now what you really should do now is move your tool head around to let those belts kind of settle back in now. And then we'll put it back in position. So hey, Projects in Dad's Garage, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're trying to fix some things. We've had some issues with our belts not being tensioned right. All right, this is now about 180. The right side is way too much, so once again, we're loosening up the M5 bolt that is locking the tensioner in place. And then I'm going to relieve some of the pressure here. Lock that back down. Move our tool head around. We'll set back up and do another measurement. And what we're setting up is 150 millimeters between the centers of the pulley. And we want our tool head to be about centered as well. And so reducing this one did drop this one, but it also dropped this one. So, you know, your belts are tied together. So when you adjust one, you will be adjusting the other as well. What I'm going to do to try and bring them closer together now is tighten one side, loosen the other. It's not as much. Oh no. This feels like it. Yeah, it did. It came out of alignment. Wasn't what I wanted to do, but dang it, dang it, dang it. So where did you go? Where'd you go? I miss you so. Feels like forever. So my nut seems to have like not aligned and went bye-bye on me. Or maybe it is aligned and I don't know. It was aligned. I was just being an idiot. But hey, welcome back in, or welcome in Projects and Dad's Garage. How's it going? So we made some adjustments. Did we lock this one back down? We did. We're going to move our tool head around some. All right. This is strumming at 200. This is strumming at 150, but this is strumming more as a bass tone than this side is. I don't know. It's weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to home all, and we're going to try and just run the belt comparison again and see where it gets us. Been through it all except for an alien invasion, yeah. Okay, so we're homed. We're going to go ahead and run that belt comparison again. Now with the tune strumming between the belts being so off, I would assume that my belt comparison would go down even more than it has been. So how's it going, Projects and Dad Garage? You've been, did I see you were working on one of your Vorons that broke? Pulled my front shroud off, so I got to reprint this. Ooh. Like, why did these Jabberwocky parts look so bad? And then I realized, well, it's because it's putting place supports on them. And that printed in decidedly the wrong color, I think. Well, that's great. We'll be reprinting that. You select the wrong colors for that, or what? Again. Awesome. Well, did I just see? No, darn it. Yeah, projects in Dad's garage. I know you were working on something today. I tried to jump in and watch a little bit, but meetings got in the way. What was it you were working on today, sir? If you feel so inclined to share. So this is our ZeroG Mercury rebuild. Um, the original printer was called Mercury Rising, and it was an Ender 5 Plus frame that had been converted to ZeroG Mercury 1, which is the gantry system, Core XY gantry, as well as Hydra. So the plan was we got the Nebula frame, which I built one in the smaller variety, kind of, where did I go? Way too far. There's its smaller sibling. We did that a couple years ago with the frame under beta. Sorry about that. What is, there we go. And the plan was to build the Nebula frame and then lift and shift all the parts out of the bigger chassis over here. Well, and then our good friend Turtle Crawler, decided, hey, let's tell Digital Dragon about all the cool CNC parts that I've designed for it. So we're now running CNC gantry parts with 9mm belts. We went ahead and got Kraken motors from West 3D. So West 3D gave us the Kraken motors. And these are currently running 48 volts and 2 amp. The Z motors are on metal mounts. Our yokes down here are SLM printed aluminum, along with the trucks as well, to give us our kinematic bed system. And so we're back up a bit. We're at 98.4, and it still says potential signs of a mechanical issue, which I will agree with. There is something mechanically wonky a bit. Let's see what our graphs look like again. So it got better. It did get better. We still have a couple of outliers. This spike. So yeah, our spikes are a little bit out of the good zone, being the ideal line, and we've got the high spike out. So let's play with the belts a little bit more. It seems like the left belt isn't as tight as the right belt. So, or at least tone-wise, it is not. So, right belt, we're going to loosen a full turn. left belt, we're going to tighten a half turn. Now, from a belt consistency and pulley ride, we seem to be spot on the pulleys. As far as the belt on the pulleys, the belts on our live idlers seem to climb up just a little bit. Front idlers are up a little bit too. I mean, 9mm belts, we should be able to get pretty good tension on them, right? Definitely over the 150 we're used to. And we're going to move things around just by literally, we're going to do a home and then a Z-tilt adjust. And that will resettle the belts as we do this. It looks like I did drop a few frames there a while back, but we should be good. Yeah, the plan for tonight was just to get things moving and do some first prints. We did a first layer print, and we've got our first layer dialed in. I did notice an issue with one of the belts riding up, so I canceled the print, and then we started chasing some mechanical stuff with the belts. And this right side motor mount was lifted up. It wasn't fully seated, so we took care of that, which has since fixed the lower belt path riding wonky. All right, we're at 0.00955 deviation, so we should be good there. We're going to do another home, and then we'll run the belt tune again and see where we are with the belts. Once again, I tighten the right side a full turn. I reduce the left side a half turn, trying to see if I can't. Let me rephrase it. I loosen this a full turn. I tighten this one half a turn. And I'm trying just to bring them in a little bit better, because it does seem like the right side, which is the upper belt, is tensioned a little bit more than the lower belt. I think this will be close enough though that we'll be able to try that print again. And what it is we're going to do is try a print of the a rook, just a simple rook, and we're going to see if we can't get a first print and basically just get some filament running through this, other than just doing a first layer test. And then we will print with this, and we will have it behind us printing, but we do need to start working later this week on the build for Zura, which is his Micron Plus build that he has asked me to do. So we will work on that starting later this week, as in Thursday. But I do just want to double check. It got real quiet out there. Am I still live with everyone? I mean, I'm not seeing any drop packets right now. I'm seeing a 2-second delay. Hey, Blue Chocobro. Yep, still live? Okay, cool. I appreciate you jumping in there and letting me know that we're still good. All right, thanks, Eagle. You're more of a lurker than anything, but you're here. Gotcha. Yeah, I know there's quite a few people that just lurk in streams and don't really jump out there and engage a lot. And that's cool. I've been known to do that myself, where I just roll into somebody's stream and I'll jump in every now and then. But for the most part, I'm just lurking because I'm sitting in meetings at work or something. So can't really engage and get into a big conversation if I'm sitting there in meetings. In one way or the other, I'm hoping this got a little bit better, or at least better in the resonance piece. And if it did, then we'll go ahead and print. I do know that the belts are still wearing in as well, so you know it takes a little bit for those belts to get worn in and get everything up and running. But we will have to transition soon over to getting the build started for Zura, because I know it's a Micron Plus build, which is a smaller printer. But sometimes smaller printers are a lot harder to work on, just because smaller frames, smaller screws, you know. And we're going to have to go through and inventory everything to make sure that we have everything that we need to get started. There were a couple of mods that Zura wanted or had planned, and we just need to make sure that we've got all the mods set and ready to go. Also, he was building it as a standard Micron Plus. Rev 1 is now officially out, so we are going to be upgrading whatever he had started to the Rev 1, along with having several mods. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to plan to spend some time on that. And it's a build for, you know, somebody in the community that likes the channel, so we need to make sure that we do right by them. And what was that? Did that just say 96? 96.7. We got worse. We got worse. How did we get worse? Okay. Making an adjustment, I am going to go ahead and just print that file, and that'll let those belts seat a little bit more, and then I'll run those tests again over the next day just to keep tweaking and tuning. You can like literally chase yourself down the rabbit hole if you let yourself. Once again, we're running the motors at 2 amps. They can take 3 amps, and that's the motors themselves. So I'm going to do the calculation again real fast. So 3 amps times 0.707. Yeah, technically we're running them at, if we run them at 70%, we can run them at 2.1. So I do have them set for 2.0. And we'll see if I switch back over here to full display real fast. I'll throw the bench camera up. As you see, we've got a lot of sensors that we're seeing here for our temperature data, right? The Kraken left and Kraken right motors are here. You see left is sitting at 47 degrees and right is sitting at 44 degrees. This is pretty cool that we actually have thermistors within the motors. So we're starting to drive them at 48 volts and higher speeds. As we start breaking this in and tuning this printer in, we'll be able to monitor those temperatures, and if we need to, we can put a we can put some passive heat sinks. We can do some active cooling to them if we need to. There's a lot of options that we can do to help bring these, see the real performance out of these. The 2 gantry motors, the XY motors, AB motors, whatever you want to refer to them as, they're running, they're being powered by UHP 350 48 volt power supply. So we have plenty of headroom there. I think that's, 48 into 350, it's like a 7 plus amp capable power supply. And we're only drawing 4 amps out of it. So we can definitely run them faster and hotter if we wanted to. But I'm not a major speed demon type of guy. I want speed but quality above all else, right? So Spidey's here just taking in the awesome build. Yeah, I may bring it down to the next maker meetup. I'll have to have Evil Diesel come over and help me carry it down. And we are running the, what do they call it? The double owl. So it's an EVA 3 toolhead with the double owl part cooling. So it's dual 5015 fans. And what they call the Kraken duct, which is like a full 2/3 circle duct. So there should be plenty of cooling on that hot end. I'm going to step over here and just make sure that it's using the right colors. And it appears to be, so that's good. We've also got our Riff 600 build that we're getting close on. I've got the designer of that did provide the prototype mount plate for he's using a SKR Pico as the controller for the top stuff. And he runs full umbilical to his tool head. My tool head is going to be running a Nighthawk 36. So I'll just have a USB cable to the tool head. But of course we'll have to wire up the X and Y motors. I just need to figure out how to... Y motors will be easy because they're stationary. It's how am I going to run the X motors wiring. You know, do I do a full cable chain just for that? Do I figure out how to do a cable chain across the spool head so I can route the X motor wire basically all along the tool head and back through the umbilical? I just got to figure that out. Okay, it's heating up the hot end to 220, and it's going to do its little purge line, and then we'll get started. I have no idea why the acceleration's looking that bad. It's the view back over here. I don't know why that fast acceleration is so crazy. Macros. Trying to figure out why it's not running the camp macro. I might have commented it out. No, the camp macro is there, so why? Hmm. Right, that sounds like crap. I don't know why. Let me see if I can drop the speed down. Yeah, I just cut the speed in half. I'm going to see if it gets better. Yeah, it's better. I mean, the layer was good. I don't know why it was making the obscene sound. Because it should be able to do that if we're putting it, if we're giving it 2 amps at 48 volts. It should be good to handle that. Tracking motor is at 50C. Unless it's not able to get the unless it's not able to pull the power and it's basically brownouting, but that doesn't make sense. Might have to might just need to drop overall I don't want to say speed down, but belt tensions down. Um Sorry, while this is printing, I'm kind of looking and seeing if we've got anything in this file. Nothing for Kraken motors. Nothing for Devil Design. Okay. What I'm going to do is see if I can get auto-tune. Because a lot of times when this happens, I know that TMC auto-tune will definitely help smooth things out. So I'm curious to see if I can pull that up, or if there's a motor profile for these in TMC auto-tune. So they are, and I really don't like that sound, so I am going to go ahead and cancel this. And yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, it was printing good. It was printing good. I mean, minus the crossbeam wisp, but things were coming out. It was printing well. I'm just thinking I've got to figure that piece out. I'm going to get with Turtle Crawler and see what he can tell me. And I'm going to chase the belt tensions a little bit more. But I think this is where we're going to call it. We've been streaming for a little over 3 hours now. So I'm going to go ahead and call the stream. I'll continue to play with this tonight like I always do, because why not? Let's sleep. And get that figured out there. Yeah. With that said, let me see who we can raid out to. I'll continue to dig around with this. We will see this again Thursday. Hopefully it's printing and not making weird, strange noises. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave it at. I believe our good friend Jano is up and running. I think I saw him get started. Let me see here. No, he is not. But Polymaker is up and running. So he's been running for just short periods. So let's go ahead and start a raid over to Polymaker. Thank you everybody for being here. I'll continue to chase this, and Thursday I'll let you know what I found out on this with the belt tensions and stuff. And I will see you guys then, as we start at least inventorying and going through and planning for the Micron Plus build for Zero. So thanks everybody for being here. You guys have a great night. Get your raid emotes started, and yeah, let's go right over to Polymaker Joel and heckle him a little bit. But thanks now. Have a good night. Have a good night. Bye-bye. And for those of you that are watching this later on YouTube, sorry we didn't make much progress tonight. This is the way it happens with new printer builds. But if you like what you see, please be sure to like and subscribe below. When you subscribe, be sure to click that bell so you get notified of future videos. And speaking of future videos, YouTube's going to be suggesting one right over here. You guys have a great